Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a very special video for you guys, my kayak friends, I should say. I have a motorized Livescope pole. Initially, I wanted to make something like this. I was out in the water using my Livescope. A lot of people use Livescope on kayaks for crappie. I use my Livescope for bass fishing. And we all know bass fishing, they chase bait. So I was having to fish while I was reeling in. I can see the fish, and then I'm having to let go of my rod with my left or right hand to manually move my pole. And I just wanted something, if bass boats, they have this foot pedals for their trolling motors, why can I make something that is similar to a boat but not the same thing as a boat? And that's when I got to work. I got to work to design everything that you guys see here is 100% made by me. When it comes to all 3D printed parts, I designed everything. All of the parts that I got additionally from the 3D printer stuff, everything will be linked in the description, from wire strippers, heat shrinks, any tools, all the components needed, all the motors, the electrical board, the wires, anything that you guys will see will be linked in the description. This way you guys can just basically copy paste what I did. My goal with this poll was to make a budget friendly transducer motorized, setup. I know there are a lot of other options out there, but they are more premium, and you also have to pay a premium price. I was not willing to pay $1,200 for a motorized pole. No, no. If I'm not mistaken, I think I was around $200 in that ballpark of all the money that I bought, all the parts and everything else. I had to buy material because I had to do a lot of prototypes, doing little tweaks there and there to make everything fit how I like it. So we're gonna go over the installation. Everything's already installed. Let me put that there. But I'm just gonna go over from the transducer. We're gonna start the one end and finish at one end. We're gonna start with the transducer, where it's mounted, the pole, the motor, the wiring, the board, all the way to the other side of the whole circuit, which will be the battery. The battery starts the power there, it ends at the motor. So we're gonna go over everything. I'm gonna show you guys some schematics that I made. I'm gonna upload pictures. I'm also going to upload the part number, the schematic for the motor, and the shaft for the motor is a 1" and 1/8 diameter for the actual pole. So if you want to use PVC, anything like that, it won't work. So I'm giving you guys everything, my trial and errors. I'm gonna tell you guys what I did so you guys won't make that mistake. So we got here the transducer. I have the Lawrence Active Target, and I'm gonna show you guys the pole, everything, and I'm gonna show you in between some tools that I use to, make this work. So to start off, this is my transducer right here. So to mount the transducer to the pole, you can either use the provided mount by your Lawrence unit that comes in the box. I decided to go with the 0° Lawrence transducer mount. Only reason I did that is because the one that comes in the box, it has an offset, meaning if you're facing straight ahead, the beam of the transducer might not be straight ahead. It might be a little bit like 15° to the left or the right. I'm not 100% sure how it is, but I just went ahead and got the 0°. This one's a little bit pricey at $60, but if you guys have a Garmin unit, I will link in the description the 0° mount on Amazon, which is like $20. So this is how I got this mounted here. This mount is mounted onto the main Kodak shaft. This is actual composite material, and it's very, very hard and high quality. This is basically the same pole that you would find in, your regular trolling motor on a boat. So it's very good. All right, so this pole here, you guys got two options, which I linked them in the description. You guys got, I believe it's the 54 inch. I got the 48 inch. there's a $20 difference in like 6 inches of difference. So I went with the shorter one. I actually had to cut it to, make it fit like my old pole, which I used to have a Yak Gadget transducer pole, the whole kit. The way you guys need to cut this is I actually used a copper pipe cutter. Now, in the process of me using the pipe cutter, the pole, or I should say the cutter itself, it broke. So I was like halfway through the whole cutting of it, and I actually had to use a hacksaw to finish it up. That was not a good idea. It was very hard. I did not have a good grip on it. I actually had to use some Schematics to hold the pole while I'm turning the pipe cutter around. I recommend if you guys have an electric hacksaw, that would be the best thing to do. If you guys don't have an electric hacksaw or you guys don't have anything to cut it with, you can actually look online for your local Minn Kota service department, and they will actually cut the pole for you with, I think it's like a charge fee of like $20. I went ahead and wrapped my wires around the pole. Now keep in mind, I actually have the wires, hold into place with some 3D printed clips, which you guys can find those online as well. I will leave links to every single 3D print part so you guys can purchase it. I will be providing the parts since, I designed them. And I want to make it, like I said, I want to make it affordable for everybody. I don't want you guys to go out and spend $700 on a pole when you can build something like this. All right, so here is the top of the motor. Once you guys wrap your cable around and stuff like that, give yourself a little slack for the wire. Test the motor. It goes 360 without getting cut up. I doubt you're gonna be live scoping behind you while you're sitting, because you're gonna end up casting backwards if you want to do something like that. Or I think if you can get it to work from where it's all the way on the left to all the way on the right without getting cut up, you should be good. All right guys, so this is the 3D printed mount that I actually designed, and it holds the Minn Kota motor. This is actually sitting on a Navarra fishing rod holder delete. I haven't tried it yet, but I think you guys can get by without using this part, the rod holder, and actually putting it on the tracks. I have not tried it yet, but possibly you guys could do something like that if you guys try it. But this is the way I did it. I already had this installed, so I designed it around that. This is held by some track knobs or track bolts. This is the kit that I will link in the description, and it comes with your knobs and all your track bolts that you need. This is how it is. So I have the motor right here on the side. My motor's actually going to sit right up here, but for the purposes of the video, I went ahead and raised the pole so I have enough room for the transducer to sit and not hit the floor. You guys got this right here, and you guys, if I will show you guys. I'm just showing you how to put it on, and then I'm going to show you guys at the end how to store it, because I actually made something where you can store it once you're done fishing. All right, so you take this, slide it in there. All right, the way that you actually will hold the motor in place is with this 2 6-inch pins that I got from Amazon. Everything will be linked in the description, and you guys can go ahead and buy these. So you're going to, all of the holes, I will tell you guys what holes you need to drill, but for the most part, everything's already pre-made in the print or the design. So all you have to do is just slide in the pins. Here's one, and this one, it's a little bit harder to put in, and I made that for a single purpose that, this one you can pull out very quick, easy, but this one is a little harder because I wanted to, there we go. I wanted to make it where, it's not gonna come off from vibration. You actually, this one have to pull it, and I made that for, for that purpose. Slide it in, Boom. All right, once you got the motor in place, I will go ahead and show you guys the next item. The next item in the list is the collar for the shaft. And this is what actually sits and meets with the motor. And that will turn, you know, the shaft left and right. This is also how you adjust the height. Right now it is that high, but I actually made it where it's that high, the very top, and it's like right here. You guys can make it how you guys want it. You guys can cut the pole how you guys like it. Just keep in mind, I cut my pole so it can fit on the holder that I'm gonna show you guys. If you guys don't want to do that, I got something else that you guys can do. This is how I did it. This is how it's gonna work for me. All right, next on the list is the actual motor. This is a Minn Kota steering motor, which is basically the exact motor that we have on our autopilots. This is the steering motor. This is basically what's over there, just a different model. I decided to go with this because of how well this is built. All right, this is meant to be wet. This is what's gonna turn the pole left and right. All right, guys, next on the list is these 3D printed pole cap that I made with an arrow. I actually mounted it where, as you guys can see, my transducer is pointing that way, the arrow is pointing that way, and it is high right now because I had to lift it up because of I don't want it to sit on the floor. But in reality, this portion here is sitting like down here. That way I can actually see with the arrow where exactly the pole is sitting. I also want to let you guys know this is made out of PETG, which is a heat resistant material for 3D printer. This is made out of 100% solid 3D printed PETG, which means it's not hollowed, it's nothing, it's 100% solid, which is what I wanted for this motor. There's some parts in this entire build that I built out of 50%, but this is 100%. You can actually probably, it's that heavy and that strong. Next up, actual cable for the motor. I ended up getting these connectors, which are waterproof. And this is for the motor, and the other side has the other piece. And this is all waterproof. All right, guys, when you guys get the motor, it's gonna come with this thing here with a spring in the middle and this pin that's gonna go right through it. What you need to do is take a little flat Phillips that fits right in the middle of the hole, take a hammer and pop it out, and it'll come out. You don't need this, but if you want to keep it, you can. One more thing that I forgot, guys, the hole that is opposite of where the cable's sitting, which is the hole that would hold this piece like so in here, or I think it's like this, I'm not 100% sure, but this hole right here, the further out, the opposite from the tracks, the bolts, that hole, you're gonna have to make it a little bit bigger. And for that, I used a 1 1/4 drill bit, and that should do it for you. Just make sure you go straight through it, and that should make it perfect so this pin can slide in and out. Next up, we have the actual power cable that comes from the control board. The cable that I use is a 16 gauge 2 conductor with a PVC cover over it, which is UV resistant, so you don't have to worry about the cable being, you know, dry rotted or anything like that. I actually purchased a separate heat shrinks because I wanted black and red to tell the difference between positive and negative. So this cable here comes from the board that's located on the pedals, which I will show you guys, and this just runs all the way through the back over here. So everything in reality is tucked away. This roll of wire is for my transducer. I like to have it here in case I need to give a little bit more instead of having it inside of the hole. So that's right there. My transducer pole wire comes through here. I actually have some Old Town wiring kit You know, the ones that, you know, that are right here in the front of that Kayak. I actually bought a kit from Old Town where I rent the actual wire. This wire is what connects to the battery. I will show you guys in a minute how everything's wired so you guys won't be as confused. So you got your motor wire that goes through this one. It goes all the way around back here to the front. Once we get to the front, this is your pedal. This is what I designed. You got one of these wires here, I'm sure is the front one is the motor. And again, I will leave the schematic for this as well. And when you purchase the board, they do tell you where positive, negative for the board and the battery go to. And right under the board as well, if you flip this upside down, it tells you like positive, negative battery, positive, negative motor. So you know what to put here. But I will leave a schematic for the wiring as well. The control board has a speed knob that you can control the speed of how fast the motor moves. You know, the 12 volts will come in from the battery depending on how fast you want your knob. You know, at half speed, you know, you could just provide 6 volts to the motor, so the motor is gonna move slowly. If you're at full speed, you're gonna get the full 12 volts out of it. All right, guys, as you guys can see here, the board, there are some M3 screws that I got. This comes with a bunch of different sizes of M3 screws. I'm pretty sure the ones I used for this board was the M3x5. I actually made this where it's a little bit thick at the bottom, so you can actually drill into it. All right, guys, so I don't remember which one I used, but the way you want to do it is basically you want to take a very small drill bit. You're going to line up the holes for the board, and you're going to mark them with a marker, and then you're going to make a very tiny hole. Once you drill a hole in the bottom, make sure you don't go all the way through, because if you go all the way through, then you're gonna make this not so water resistant. Just make a little tiny incision and see if when you take the screw, start spinning it with an Allen key and see if it'll start threading. If it starts threading, then you're good. Once you do all 4 holes, you just line up the board, put the screws in there, and the board is in place. That's how I did it. The wiring for the knob already comes with the board pre-wired. You actually get it like this, already pre-wired. All right, guys, so for whatever reason, the files were corrupted for the next portion of the video, so I'm just gonna carry on from here. So basically what I was saying is this wires here for the buttons. I will leave a schematic in the description with how to wire the button. Basically you have the buttons here. The board will come with this, which is a switch. I went ahead and cut it, and I wired my wires, if you're looking at the board like this from the back. I got one leg of red to the right side of one button and the other leg of the red to the other side of the button. I then took the ground, which is the black wire in the middle, and I ran it from one side of the button, which will be the left, and then I daisy chained it to the other button. Again, all of this stuff will be in a schematic picture for you guys. Once this is all completed and you got all your wires done, the way I have mine powered on from my battery down there, I actually have a Yak power, which is basically like a switch. If you guys don't have that, I will link in the description connections that you guys can use so you can disconnect your source of power. All right, guys, so the way I have my battery set up is I have my battery with a disconnect here that goes to the Yak power. Then my pole will not receive power unless I turn it on with the M. There it is, it's on right now. I have it where it's just straight up to the the switch. If you don't have the switch, you can do like right down here, a little disconnect that you can pop on and off. One of these switches right here that are waterproof, one of these switches, you can actually do that to, you know, give it power from the battery if you don't have a switch like I do. But once this is done, you have the knob, which would, you know, left, that's off right here. This is on, this is full speed, this is like minimum speed. So the pulse already in here. Like I said, the files got corrupted, so I'm gonna try my best to keep up and catch up. So slow button or slow speed, less speed, there we go. There it is, it's turning, and then right. And if you want full speed, max speed, you can adjust. There is a on the water review that you guys will see. Sorry about the confusion with the files. I also wanted to let you guys know that all of these buttons are already pre-made in the file. So they look something like this. Everything's already pre-made. You don't need to drill anything. The only two holes that you do have to drill is the holes for the battery cable and the motor cable. I'm not gonna say what size you need because you could go with a different wire than what I have. So you make the decision on how you want to drill them. If you guys go with the wire I used a 1/4 inch drill bit to drill through. That was the perfect size for the hole for this. I also tested this with some silicone. I went ahead and closed it all the way, put some silicone around here, put some silicones in the holes right here and around the wires. And I must say that it does work very well. So if you wanna seal it up with some silicone, you guys are good to go. So I got the pedal already installed, the new one, which is spread apart a little bit more. Speed knob is actually right here on the side. I just want to let you guys know that I figure out the bit size for the little screws you're gonna have to drill for the screws for the bore, and that size is a focus 7/64 drill bit. That's the drill bit that you need for this holes here. And for the hole for the wires here, you're gonna need a 5/16 drill bit. All right. Also, when you're installing the board, make sure that you try to install it as far to the left as possible. I was actually having some trouble. I had it initially installed. You can see the hole right there. I had it installed on this side, and it was actually pushing up on the right button like so. So I actually pushed it all the way to the left as much as I could, and now as you see, everything is 100% close and we don't have a problem with the buttons lifting up. So make sure you push the board all the way to the left if you can. If you guys got any questions, let me know. If there's something that needs to be worked on, please also let me know. I'm taking inputs, ideas. Now, the video is not over yet. You're saying, okay, Frandy, so I got this. Now, how the hell do I store it? Boom, I'm gonna show you guys. I am actually going to slide it up back to my original position. So you just, that's a thumb screw right here, and that you loosen up and you can bring, I actually made a mark to show exactly what I need to be right up here. All right. And then you just tighten it down. And whenever the pole falls down, it won't fall over here because my transducer is hitting the floor. But you go ahead and take the pins off. When you're done, take the pins off. And I put actually some Velcro on it. That way I can probably have it zip tied to something. But for right now, we're gonna put it right here. The motor's gonna come off. That simple, just it comes forward. All right. And then you're going to turn it. And this is what I made, this box here on the side of the chair. It's what I made for the storage. I actually made this thick enough. Excuse me, let me just disconnect the motor. I actually made this thick enough that whenever you slide the cable in, it's not gonna pinch it. it has enough room that it's just going to sit basically like that. So here we go. You're just gonna slide it in, and as you guys can see, the, excuse me, I actually have to, there we go. Just make sure this is sitting all the way straight. And the cable, like I said, you can move it. It's not being pinched. It's not gonna get messed up at all. And the good thing about this is that it has enough clearance in here, probably like about a finger in between, that you can sit here, no problem. Very sturdy, made out of PTG as well. And you can actually move your seat up without having to be interrupted. So that's something I made into consideration when making the design for the mount. So once you get this in here, you're gonna move to the front. If you have a center console, like a Boondocks, like I have, I'm not 100% sure about the Sasquatch. That is something that we're gonna have to look into. You can actually turn it by hand, pop it in place. That simple. This is the Yak Attack paddle holder, and this is basically how the pole is going to sit. Right here in the front, all the way in the back. And it's gonna sit out of the water. It's not gonna jump or anything like that. Like, this is shaking the entire kayak. So I just wanted to let you guys know. But then you're telling me, Frandy, but what if I don't have a center console or a center bar? Like, what do I do now? It's okay. I got you guys. I actually designed this right here, which it just has a track knob, and it is going to basically sit in the tracks right here. All right. And I'm actually going to take off my Yak Attack paddle holder so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Put this in here. Doesn't matter the distance. And this is going to sit. I wish I could show you guys because the transducer is heading the pole, but oh, there it goes. So it's gonna sit like this. And this is just a prototype. You guys can see how hollow it is, but I'm actually going to be making this out of 100% infill, which is gonna be 100% solid. So this thing is not gonna move at all. So that's how it's gonna go. That's if you don't have the center bar here or a Sasquatch. I'm pretty sure the Sasquatch should work. Not 100% sure, but if you are going to be using something like this, right? And you have it all the way in the back or in the front, however you need to do it, right? This is where I have mine. This is where I feel comfortable with mine, okay? You will need to cut the pole to fit your paddle holder if you don't want to use this. If you want to use this, you can cut it as short as right here. But if you know what I mean, I can't really cut this right here if I want to use the paddle holder, because the paddle holder sits right here. So I can only cut so much of this before it's not going to fit here. And I want to use this, okay? This is something that I want to do. You don't have to do it. You can just cut it all the way back here and have it sit right here in the middle, okay? So just keep that in mind when you're cutting the pole to measure it out, install your transducer, have it sit where you want it to sit. And if you have to, you know, put more length to the pole, because I've ran into before I cut this where my my actual mount was heading the paddle, so I had to move it up just a tad bit just so it can fit. All right, guys, so this is it for this installation overview. Now after this video, you guys will see the on the water review. When I go out tomorrow in the morning, I'll give it a try and see how it looks and how it works. If I need to tweak something, I will let you guys also know. I'm also asking for people to help me out. This is something that I don't want it just for the old town kayak. Like if you have a hobby or a canoe, or if you have a pelican or any kayak, as long as you have some sort of tracks that you can install, you should be able to put this to work. All right. So I am asking if you have an old town, this is a 120 autopilot. If you have a 106 Minn Kota drive, the PDL, if you have any other kayak other than this one and you would like to help me out, this is what I need from you guys. I need you guys, at least one person, if you have a different model than the kayak I have, I will send you a 3D printed motor base. Now this motor base is gonna be a prototype. It's gonna be about 5% infill, which is gonna be it's not gonna be as strong. It's not gonna be solid, okay? It's just a prototype, just to see how it fits on your kayak. If we have enough room, if we need to lengthen it a little bit. But if it's perfect, whoever helps me out on that one, I will send you guys personally. You don't guys have to pay for anything. I will pay for everything to send you guys the mounts so you can try them on your kayak. If everything's good, then I will go ahead and promote it for different kayaks as well. That's my goal. To add to that, if you guys do help me out, I am willing to give you guys a 20% off coupon. So when you purchase this, you guys can go ahead and get a 20% off coupon on whatever you want to get, okay? If you want to help me out, my social media is down in the description. That would be really helpful for me since I don't have money to go buy every single kayak. So if you guys will be able to help me out, that would be great. The link in the description for my social media down below. I have Instagram and TikTok. If you guys want to message me through Instagram, you guys are more than welcome to. I'm sure I have my email here on my YouTube channel. I'm not 100% sure. But I would just use Instagram if you want to reach out to me. All right, guys, I will go ahead and see you guys in the water tomorrow. One more thing that I forgot to mention. If you do want to use something like this, you're going to have to get the Catch track, the titanium one. I think it is titanium or aluminum, I think. Sorry, aluminum. But you do need this if you want to use this for storage in the back. All right, guys. I'm here in the water, been fishing all morning. I just wanted to show you guys how this works. I'm gonna go ahead and record my active target so I can show you guys on screen what I'm looking at. So the motor is currently put away. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. All right, and I'm going to slide it in here, put the wire under, and I'm gonna take the pins, slide one in here, and then the other one will slide like so. Now everything's connected. I do already have power to the pedals. I do gotta open it up. I sealed it up with some silicone really well. I gotta open it up for whatever reason. This button, when I press it, it moves the transducer way faster than when I press this one. I'll show you guys in a little bit. But everything's set up. Here you guys see the arrow. That is basically where my transducer is pointing at currently. When I go into full speed without even pressing the button, it's turning, and I don't want it to do that. So something must have happened when I closed it and those wires came out. So I gotta open it up. Again, if I need to replace the board or whatever, I need to replace buttons. The board was like $10. The buttons was like $10 for 20 of them, I think it was. So if I need to order another one, ain't no biggie. So far, I haven't tried it with my shoes on, just because I have the really thick croc. I rather just use my toes, left and right. So as you guys can see, if I go left with my big toe, it's gonna go to the left. And if you guys see, when I press the right, it's gonna go faster than when I go right. It's supposed to be the same speed, left and right. So that's something I gotta figure out when I get home. It's something electrical, nothing with the actual mechanism. Yeah, I'm looking around, trying to see, and as you guys can see, I'm not using any hands free. Anyways, I'm just gonna spot lock real quick. Currently on spot locked, so I'm gonna cast out there. I'm looking for my bait. I start looking for it. And I think I saw it. All right, guys. So I had to change the palette because I'm used to this palette. I wasn't able to see exactly where it was. And let's go ahead and start recording video. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and cast to that fish at 50. And you should be able to see my jig somewhere around here. There's my jig falling. And as you can see, oh, there it is. It's at 60. So where's the jig? Oh, there it is. So as you guys can see, jig is falling, and like, oh, it disappeared. At that point, if you had a fish right there on the screen, you will have to do this and then go back to it. Now you can actually fish it, and actually, that's my jig. So do little adjustments. Just looking for the jig. There's my jig. Boom, boom, boom. Let's say that, you know, you pointing this way and you want to cast out to the right. All right. So you just cast and just turn it to the right, and you should see the jig falling. Oh, there it is at 40. It is at 40 dropping. So now I am actually scanning, trying to find it because I'm on spot lock and the motor is turning me left and right. There's my jig. And again, a big way to reference where your jig is located is by looking at your line, where it's at, and then you just turn this arrow pointed to where your jig is at. There it is. You know, it's fading away like as I move it, and then I just press the button, like right here is fading right there, and then I just press the button and it comes back alive. There you go, to the right. It's gonna take a little bit getting used to it, but for the most part I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna show you guys a quick full speed. Here we go. We're gonna go full max speed. Currently going at 3.3, and as you guys can see, there is absolutely no movement to the actual pole. You can actually scan at the same time if you wanted to, you know what I mean? But that's gonna, you know, slow you down, of course. I'm gonna show you guys another way you can use this. So let's stop right here. Again, you can scan. Oh, I see a fish there, for example. Go to 30, and then you should see the jig falling here shortly, hopefully. And then right now, like, I have no idea where it's at, but I'm looking for it. I'm trying to see where it's at. There it is, at 40. You guys can see it at 40 feet. And I'm moving it, fading. So if I go to the left, it gets brighter. So let's That's what I gotta do. This is one way that I also fished it for a little bit. It's not as comfortable, but if you don't want to be sitting for like, you know, a whole 5 hours live scoping, I actually, well, if you have your graph mounted like I do, you can actually loosen it up a little bit. You can stand up, and you know, this part, you got, once you get your foot on here, you be Gucci. And I just basically use my toe left and right to scan around. Let's say I want to cast out, you know, straight ahead, so I go ahead that way. I'm looking for my jig. Oh, there it is. But as you guys can see, I'm actively looking for it while I'm standing. Gonna cast out there, went a little bit to the right, so now I'm gonna start looking for my jig, and I think I saw it. I can't find it, so is there a fish? Nope, it's not a fish. And then I'm gonna start looking for my jig, which there it is at 65 dropping. There it is at 65. You can barely see it. Let's see if I can hit that group of fish. Jig at 55. But like I said, you guys can see how I'm actively looking for my lure. See how it's fading away, and I'm constantly looking for that brightness. Oh, there it is. Yeah guys, so that's pretty much it. I think this is 100% good. I didn't see anything that I need to make any adjustments. The only thing that I'm gonna have to look into is going to be why the button here is going faster. I'm actually gonna show you guys how I put it away. You're done. I actually will take this piece right here, store it away where I can actually move. It was actually raining this morning, so I went ahead and put the pedals on the carrier for my tools that I have here on my seat, and it was actually not getting wet. If you have a connection, like I said, that you can connect it here, if you don't have the jack power, you can go ahead and disconnect it. But for me, I'm going to, which is my M, I'm going to hit the M. That's gonna shut off. There's no power going to it. So now I'm gonna take off both the pins. I'm gonna make sure the pins are nice and safe, so I'm gonna put them in here. All right, I'm gonna disconnect the motor, and then I'm going to take the motor, and as you guys can see, there's the box. I'm gonna go ahead and store it in here. I'm gonna store it in there. There you go. And then this piece just snaps in place, just like that. Now you can go ahead. It's not going nowhere. Actually went around 60 miles per hour with the kayak on the trailer, and it was doing pretty good. This piece, I have no problems at all. It does not move, even though you can probably move it with your hands. It doesn't move in the water. So that was pretty much it for the on the water review. While using it, I didn't see anything that needs to be fixed. Maybe in the future, I will say the pedals, I would like it to be a little bit wider, and the buttons a little spread out, and probably the buttons a little bit bigger too. If you guys found this video helpful, or is something that you guys are thinking of doing, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe so I can make more content for you guys like this. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. I hope you will put this to use. That's why I'm giving you guys all the tools and parts needed so you guys can build your own. Hey guys, sorry for the pause here. I just wanted to tell you guys a couple updates that I got for you guys in regards to the pedal and how I went out and tested it out. So the problem with the pedal, you know, whenever I pressed the right button, it kept moving. Not 100% sure if this was the case. Here, the wires were actually coming out a little bit, probably touching the ground, and it was being energized that way. So just make sure when you put them in here, they are 100% inside and there's no like little wires coming out. Another update I did to the foot pedal is, as you guys can see, it is way bigger. I noticed that if you're wearing shoes, it's going to be very difficult to press both buttons. So I actually spread them out where now you can have, you know, I'm an 11.5 and this works perfectly for me. I actually have it one here, one here. I also removed the speed knob. Well, I wouldn't say remove. I moved it from here. Now it's gonna be on the side over here. This is one of the prototypes and that's where it's going to sit. It's gonna be on the right side. You know, I thought about it. I was like, okay, so if my foot is here, it's going to be stopped by the speed knob. So let me get rid of it, put it on the side. That way we can have more space to left and right. All right, guys. Well, that was it for the entire install, entire review of the actual pedals or motorized pedal on the water. If you guys like this video, if you guys like the content that I provided, please leave a like or comment or subscribe. That will help me out a lot to create more content. It'll motivate me to do different things. I left you guys with all the parts and everything you guys need to make this happen. If you guys got any questions at all, feel free to leave a comment, contact me. I'm very happy with the results. I hope you guys can enjoy it. If you guys got any suggestions on that I need to do, please let me know. Other than that, guys, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day.